ADHD Babes, the podcast, a podcast hosted by the ADHD Babes community for the community. Please note, nothing mentioned during the podcast is meant as a diagnosis. If you believe you have ADHD, please seek professional advice and visit or join ADHDBabes.com for help with diagnosis. No clinical diagnosis is required to join. And now, you're listening to the next episode of ADHD Babes, the podcast.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of ADHD Babes, the podcast. Today's episode is hosted by me, Sabrina, and we're going to be discussing ADHD and motherhood. Joining in on the discussion, we are joined by our guests, Naomi and Sarah. Hello.
Hi. Hi, guys. Hi.
Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to dive straight in. So motherhood can be challenging for ADHDers because of things like executive functioning, lateness, forgetting, dealing with mundane tasks, and just things that aren't stimulating. And this includes during the pregnancy stage as well. So I want to talk to you both. Like, what have your experiences as a mother been like?
I mean, it's hard to summarize it in a small sentence. Like, I guess quite a disaster, but mostly good, is how I would say. But yeah, it makes everything harder. And I think ADHD wise, I mean, it helped me realize I have ADHD because things got that bad. And from pregnancy right through to like having my children, I guess I've just struggled a lot with anything that involves organization. I think actually a big thing I found hard is my inattentiveness, and actually being present in the room is something I really struggle with, and being a present mother. And because of that, I found in my pregnancy, I thought it was prenatal depression, but it was more, I was just completely out of it and quite disassociated almost. And it didn't feel real. And it took me a lot longer. So I think we have processing differences as well. Sometimes I can process some things too quickly, and sometimes it can take me too long. And pregnancy took me a long time to process. And then motherhood is not something you can do in your own time. It gets done to you when it's ready. But yeah, there's a lot more to say, but.
Yeah, that's literally everything you were saying. Exact same experience as me, because I wasn't aware that I had ADHD. And then like having a child, like I seem like a really organized person, but then just having a child and everything just like bleh.
Yeah.
And then I just really struggled with organizing, and I got diagnosed last year and I'm inattentive as well.
Okay.
So yeah, I found it hard being really present as well, and just like so much noise, claustrophobia, so much chaos everywhere. And as well, this you mentioned postnatal depression, like that was my experience as well, because like the first 18 months I really, really struggled. Like it was not good at all. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing. And how about you, Sarah? What have your experiences as a mother been like?
During pregnancy, I found it incredibly hard to focus for even 1 second on anything. It took me so much energy, like mentally, and like as well, obviously with pregnancy, it takes a lot of energy out of you, that I just couldn't focus on anything. I have ADHD. When I got diagnosed, I was diagnosed when I just graduated from university, literally quite late in life. I had two forms of like neurodiverse conditions. So I have dyslexia and ADHD, and I find that people that tend to have neurodiverse conditions tend to have one or the other or both, or pick a mix of different ones. And then my dyslexia made it hard for me to kind of focus on, when it comes to, when you're dealing with pregnancy, there's a lot of documentation they send you.
Yeah.
And you're having to go to all these different appointments. And then you're trying to sort of navigate work as well, on the best time to tell your workplace that you're expecting and stuff. So it was very, very, very overwhelming for me. And then there's all these medications that I had to take in order for me to maintain my pregnancy at the time. So it was really a challenge for me. And there were times where I felt quite low and quite lonely, because even though I have an amazing partner, he didn't understand what I was going through because of all of these like emotions, plus with the fact that I have ADHD and dyslexia, which makes it even more challenging for me. So I can totally understand the experiences of both of you, because it just feels like a new thing that you kind of having to manage, and you're not sure how to manage it all.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And it is so hard to focus like in the pregnancy stage, and then like you just have a baby in your belly and you have to think about like just your health in general, because you're kind of like dealing with, I don't know if did you have like symptoms where your energy was quite low, you mentioned?
Yeah, incredibly low.
Yeah.
Like to the point that I would sleep during the day, and I would really try to do work, but it was like my body would just shut down and I just couldn't do anything. And then because I have like ADHD as well, it brings that sense of guilt to me as well, feeling that, oh, I should be working, but I can't help it because my body is like growing a whole human being and I have no strength. So, yeah.
Yeah, the tiredness is real, like low iron levels as well. And then it's just like doing activity 10 minutes, like I need to lie down. This is so tiring. Like honestly, and just all the like mental energy as well. And you mentioned dyslexia, having to deal with all the documentation, appointment, this, going here, there, and everywhere. But you mentioned something that doesn't get talked about a lot. You mentioned about it can feel really lonely and isolating at times being a mom. And then throwing ADHD as well, it can make it worse. So, and I felt that as well. I feel like there's not enough support for mothers with ADHD. So, what do you think could be done? Like, what does support look like for you?
For me, support looks like maybe people checking in on you more. I feel like a lot of the time throughout the whole sort of pregnancy, you're having to do the chasing, and then you're also having to remember the appointments they send you. And then it's a lot like a login details. So I forget my login details for certain things that I need to go to. And that drives me like in kind of like a procrastination mode state where I don't even want to deal with anything anymore. So it's quite hard, like, and then you're really trying your best to make sure that, okay, they've given you these medications, you need to keep taking them. And I have to literally set like alarms on my phone because I will not remember to take them at specific times. So it became quite overwhelming. So just having that check-in maybe, and more of a sort of human relationship. I just found with the doctors and the NHS is very like technical and medical, and you don't really get like the emotional aspects of feeling that you're like cared for. It's all like, right, this is what's going on with your body. You have this going on and you need to take this medication. And it's all quite clinical. So it can make you feel lonely because there's no kind of relationship. That's the experience I had.
Honestly, all of that part, like, yeah, you're right. The appointments are very clinical, and it's like you go to your midwife, you get weighed, they take your blood pressure, they measure your belly, bye. And it's like, okay, but like, I want to ask questions. Don't ask questions. We're not here for questions. We're just going to weigh you, have your baby. Like, I don't want to talk to you. And yeah, it does feel really lonely. And then even like when you've had your baby, you have like a health visitor come around, but then again, it's just like they're kind of just asking you questions and then they ask you how you're feeling. But I'm like, okay, but do you care how I'm feeling? Like, no, not really. Like, they don't really care how you're feeling. And I feel like there just is not enough support in those like early kind of that year or two. There's just not enough support. So it can be really, really overwhelming. How about you, Naomi? What are did you ever feel lonely during the pregnancy stage, or?
I've literally just been interrupted by two small people. So this is what I mean about concentrate. But yeah, I felt incredibly lonely, especially in my first pregnancy. So I have two little boys. And my first pregnancy, although I was very happy, it was unplanned. And I guess I just felt like an imposter. I didn't feel like I actually was pregnant or that I was capable of being pregnant. And every meeting I had with a health professional felt like, I don't know, like they were testing me or checking that I was going to be a suitable mother. I actually got quite paranoid about it. I felt like it was a test that I was going to fail, and I didn't feel cared for. I mean, I will add that I never met both my midwives were white, and they were quite young, and my health visitor was white and made quite a weird comment actually about skin color. So it wasn't just about ADHD. It was, I don't know. It's like mothers are only allowed to be white. That's what it felt like to me. I don't know if anybody else can unpack that for me, but that's what it felt like.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think, that's really, really awful. That was my experience as well. I don't even know how to respond to that. I know what you mean. It's just like that. Yeah, that's just really awful. It's just uncomfortable. And I feel like as well, it's like, did you ever feel like visible but invisible at the same time?
Completely, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe that to people, but yeah.
Yeah, like I felt seen, but then it was also like I looked so ill after my baby, and I'm like, wow, nobody like intervened or anything. And I looked very, very, very ill. Like I lost a lot of weight. So I'm just like, I wish that they'd just stepped in and helped. Like, I'm like, surely they would have seen like I was not right at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
No, I think I've heard it a lot where people just don't get the support that they need from midwives and health visitors. So it's just really, really awful.
I'm sorry, I have to ask because I'm too nosy, but did you have your diagnosis before any of your children?
So I didn't. My first pregnancy, sorry, child interrupted me again. No, I had no idea at all. So when I was getting really strong and intensive symptoms, I thought that was a sign that I'm definitely not supposed to be a mum. Like I'm not going to be a good parent. And I didn't think this was something I could, get support for or manage. My second pregnancy, no, I still didn't know, but I had some thoughts that I might be. And yeah.
I was just interested to know whether or not, if you have a diagnosis, whether or not there was any change in the support that you received after having the baby or while you're pregnant. Like, it was just interesting. Sorry,
Did you know, Sarah? Your
diagnosis? So before I got pregnant, I knew I had ADHD and dyslexia. I knew I had both. And I sometimes wonder, because I had these conditions, maybe it caused me to be a bit more anxious about my pregnancy and a bit more worried about whether I would be able to be a mum at times. So it was something that was on my mind, and probably part of the reason why I've probably waited for such a long time, that now in my life to go on this journey to have kids. So unlike yourself, I planned my pregnancy, so it wasn't something I didn't plan. But I planned it because for many years I was always afraid to have children, because I didn't think I would be kind of adequate to have kids because I had a neurodiverse condition. So that was on my mind. But through just persistence and just resilience, I thought, let me do this with my partner. I do want to be a mum. I can do it. So throughout my pregnancy, I wanted to be as positive as possible, but it was quite hard on me. I felt it was quite a hard pregnancy. So yeah.
Can I just add, Sarah, that I feel like 10 times the better mum comparison now that I know I have ADHD compared to before.
Yeah.
Like anything you struggle with, you can learn how to tackle, but if you don't know, it's so much harder.
Yeah, it's really interesting, the difference, because I got diagnosed afterwards. So I literally only got diagnosed last year, but my daughter is 6. So I think I would have been the same as you, Sarah. Like if I'd known I had ADHD, I would have been worried, like really, really worried about everything. So I'm kind of glad I didn't know, because then I'd be like, how am I supposed to remember everything? I'm never on time for anything.
Yeah.
And like I'm still like that now, but like now that I've been diagnosed, I'm better. But I think like I had no idea. Like mine was also unplanned. So yeah, I just kind of dived in feet first, like not planned whatsoever.
I think for myself, I think I had to go through a process of accepting my neurodiverse condition and having ADHD. And that process took me a while. For some people, it might be quite quick and they just, okay, I've got this. It was really kind of, the only way I could describe it, it was a wave of emotion. So I was like, okay, I have dyslexia, I have ADHD. Okay, that's cool. Then how do I deal with this? And then feeling down about it again and then go up. So it was a real process. I know some people feel like when they find out they have a neurodiverse condition, they're like, yeah, I felt like that for an instant. And then afterwards I thought, so what do I do with this? What am I supposed to do with this? Why can't I just be normal? And there was a certain degree of anger I had a little bit because I wish I had known as a child, because I've heard of people that got diagnosed when they were 6 years old. I knew I had this condition at 6 years old, but I was never given an official diagnostic test. And even when I was growing up with my parents, and they kind of knew I had dyslexia because of like, you know, they were getting feedback from the school and, you know, Sarah's not quite picking up the way everyone else is, but she's very intelligent. Everyone always says I'm very intelligent and you'll be fine. But I knew that there was something not right. I knew deep down I had like dyslexia or some kind of learning difference. And only when I was in my 20s, that's when they said, yeah, you have it officially. So I felt kind of angry because if I had got the support earlier, maybe I would have been able to process it better. And it just took me such a long time in my later years to process it, to now kind of realizing, oh, these are the certain decisions I've made because I had this condition, because of my self-esteem around my condition. And yeah, it took me a long time. And I know some people feel like that it's, you know, it's a fresh breath of fresh air for them to know they have this. But for me, it was really a process and just dealing with a roller coaster of emotions, because sadly, there is still sort of a stigma that comes with having ADHD and any form of neurodiverse condition. People have this perception of you, which isn't great. And I wish that wasn't there, but it is still sort of there. Yeah.
Yeah. Real talk. Honestly, your experience is the same as mine, because I've noticed that some people are like, yay, been diagnosed. But then I had the same as you, where I felt angry. So like at first I didn't feel anything at all. And I was like, this is very unlike me, because I'm either really, really low or just really, really high. But then I didn't feel anything. And I was like, for a month, and I was like, that's weird. And then after a month, it hit me, and I was so angry at everybody, because I'm like, the way I've been treated, people calling me slow, why can't you do this? Or like starting new jobs, people not training me, this, that, and the other. Like, I had so many issues in the workplace. If I knew I had ADHD, and like just the way that people are not inclusive as well. And just if you ask for basic things like, can you communicate with me about X, Y, and Z? I'm not communicating with you. And it's like it's a need. And it's like people not being inclusive. And you're right, there's still a stigma. And I've now started telling people I have a hidden disability, so I need X, Y, and Z. I'm not asking for a lot. So yeah, it's really interesting that you mentioned that. I wanted to ask you, Naomi, as well, like, how did you feel after you got your diagnosis?
Yeah, very, very similar. So it felt like a fight to get my diagnosis. So I thought I'd be really happy. Like everybody, first went to my GP, they were not interested, heard about Right to Choose, still not interested, complained, finally referred me to Right to Choose. And then, yeah, I felt very numb. And then just quite let down, sad, a bit angry. I mean, my parents most definitely are neurodivergent, so I couldn't be too angry at them. But more at like school and, you know, like early workplaces, especially school and university as well. But yeah, I mean, going back to your point before about like, about, you know, not knowing versus knowing when you're pregnant. Yeah, I think I genuinely, like, the grass is always greener. I think it would have been better for me to know, because I felt like, I think you can't win. You'll feel like a terrible mum, or like you're not good enough anyway sometimes. you might as well know why you think that rather than it just being a random feeling. But both my children are autistic as well, and I genuinely don't believe I would be as good at parenting them as I am if I didn't understand what it meant to be neurodivergent. That's a factor to think about as well.
Yeah, it's that level of empathy as well. I feel like I've got like an extra layer of empathy. So when you're dealing with a child and they're having their emotions as well, and you've mentioned autism as well, so it's like you can be like, okay, I see these symptoms in my children, so I want to make sure that I can support them and they know like they've got that support there because that's what we need, and their needs can be met as well. I wanted to also, we've talked about feeling guilty quite a lot and beating ourselves up about things. And I read an article about a mum and she was talking about how she feels guilty when she forgets her keys and just things like that, and how other mums seem really organized. And it can be really easy to compare ourselves to others. When you have moments like that, when the mum guilt creeps in, like how do you deal with that?
Mum guilt. You always feel like, I guess when it comes to mum guilt, sometimes you always feel like you could have done more for your children and you're putting other things first. And then you don't give yourself that level of grace because you think, I should be at a standard and I should be there for my child much more than I am because of the fact that this is my responsibility. I've been given this child. It's my responsibility to look after them. You're kind of like stuck in the middle of I'm trying to work and do well for my employer or whatever that is, the choice that you're choosing, or should I be there for my child? And am I doing the right thing by my child by doing all these things? And then you're comparing yourself maybe to other parents or other people and wondering how they're getting it all done and why you can't a lot of the time. So I feel that's where the mum guilt probably comes into, is the comparison and feeling that you can give a lot more.
Yeah, comparison is the thief of joy, as I always say. How about you, Naomi? How do you deal with mum guilt?
I feel mum guilt every day. I mean, I think I've learned to regulate my emotions slightly better, like a tiny bit better than I did previously, but forgetting things like my son started swimming lessons with school last week and I forgot to put his swimming kit in his bag. I didn't read the message properly. That's another thing. I never read messages. When you have children at school, the messages from school, my God, I can't tell you, just drives you crazy. Every week you'll have about 12 different text messages with long text messages telling you that you should do something or you need to do something. But yeah, I forgot his swimming kit and he was absolutely livid when I picked him up. He was like, everybody went swimming and I had to watch it. It was the worst day of my life. So I felt like the worst mum in the world for about a week probably. But it happens, and that would happen if I was neurotypical. It just happens. Like you forget things. Yeah, granted, I forget them a lot more, I think, than a lot of other parents. But yeah, I try not to. I try and do some things to help myself not forget, like plan 2 days ahead. So like now I put his swimming stuff in his bag now, like a few days before he goes swimming. I might just start putting like 3 sets of swimming stuff in there just to make double sure or triple sure that it doesn't happen again. Been locked out of the house with them, had to go into a neighbour's house. There's so many things that I just completely dropped the ball on. Today's quite a good mental health day, so I'm like, yeah, it is what it is, it happens. Other days I'm like, I'm the worst mum ever. I'm not capable. But they're 7 and they're 8 and 8, God. They're 8 and 5 now. And yeah. I'm doing okay. So I need to stop complaining and putting myself down so much.
Yeah, I know. It is really hard, and especially when you're getting all the messages, because my daughter's school, they have an app. I'm not even logged in. So
Is it Class Dojo?
It's called
You've got, if you have to ask someone, like, how do I get back into the app? It's just, I can't describe the shame. People don't understand. I can't do things like that.
I don't know the login or anything. I'm just like, I don't know about this app. I don't even have it. Just I signed up for it once and then like I haven't looked at it since. So yeah. And the thing is, you mentioned about forgetting your son's swimming. So I spoke to a midwife and she was saying how she sent her daughter to school in a school uniform, but then it was non-uniform day.
Oh, all the time.
And I'm just like, it's so relatable. Or just when it's like school photo day and then child's hair is just...
My parents did that to me, so I've at least managed not to do that one, but yeah.
Yeah, it's just like... but yeah, I've started setting an alarm for my daughter's PE kit because otherwise, I don't know what day it is. I don't remember.
Do you have any visual charts?
No,
Yeah.
I'm more of an alarm person. I feel like that works for me.
It's not just for you. It means my sons remind me about things now as well. So I got recommended them because my sons are autistic, but I have one which is just like days of the week and like a little PEX picture on Velcro. And so I've got PE written on like the days that they've got PE and swimming written. So it's like there's 4 people in the house to try and remember, basically. I would recommend that. Yeah, all the time I would suggest that. And this I remember when I was recommending it, I'm like, he doesn't need visuals. Like he can hear what I'm saying. He can remember. He's got a good memory. And it turns out we all need visuals because it just takes the load off your brain having to do the work for you. It's not about not being able to like listen or read or communicate properly. It's about just helping your brain and not putting too much load on it. But yeah, that makes a big difference. Coincidentally, that chart was like we put it away because we had someone viewing the house and that wasn't out that week. So I imagine I wouldn't have forgotten his kit if it was there. But yeah,
that visual is charts. A game changer, honestly.
Yeah, I'll put a link in one of the in one of the WhatsApp groups or something for like ones you can use, but they're really helpful.
Oh my gosh, why did I? The thing is, we've got quite a few charts for like behavior that we used when she was younger, so I can just dig one of those out. Why did I not think of that? Like honestly,
really, really simple ones, none of the elaborate ones. And think about it, it's like it's for you as well as your kid. But yeah,
I literally need that. Oh my goodness, that's so good. One of the things I find as well is there's a lot of mundane tasks, I find. How do you deal with mundane tasks like the constant cleaning?
Oh my God.
Like, it's just like never ending. Like
the laundry.
Yes, the laundry. Like literally, I'm like, why is that full again? Like, why is it full again? I've only just unpacked the last lot. What is going on? I don't know how people are having a pristine house, beautiful house. How do you deal with mundane tasks that aren't stimulating?
Yeah. I don't, to be honest. It's a constant struggle. I think it forever will be. Sometimes I might get into some momentum and like I might get all the laundry done like on Saturday and I might get a lot of things done, but it always falls off. Like the house is always going to be messy at some point. Luckily, I have a partner, so it's not just on me. But yeah, there's the boring stuff. Like I guess it helps that I have to do it now. Like before I had my sons, like I could just be a bit of a slob and literally wear every item of clothes I own before I did some washing. Like every single one. Hence why I've got about 40 pairs of underwear because I'm that person. But yeah, now I have to do their clothes because they get crap everywhere constantly. So I guess it actually helps me with the it's like a weird vicious cycle that they create more mundane tasks, but I have to do them. Therefore, I'm better at doing every mundane task because I have to do them. So it's like a self-feeding system, if that makes sense.
No, I get you. How about you, Sarah? How do you deal with mundane tasks?
Naomi, you have to help me with this because right now I've got a pile of like stuff just on the on the left-hand side of me that's been staring at me, and I'm staring at it. And
is it stuff that doesn't have a home?
Yeah, it's just stuff that I've just like, I like my husband, he's really good at like organizing, but we can be just as bad as each other. So we'll say, oh, we'll do it tomorrow, and it doesn't get done. So it's just like today I was supposed to like clear out all the crap that I need to get rid of. Like it's just a pile of stuff that I just need to get rid of.
Do you have like a judgmental family member that you can invite round so that you'll get like motivated to tidy it all up?
Probably, yeah, I do, but I don't want that.
That is a good idea. People coming around will really.
I don't want that. That's the thing. Yeah, I know it's supposed to get done, but yeah, I do have a judgmental family member that will like, oh, you need to fix up. What's all this? But I'm not ready for that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Or a nice friend who will come and sit with you while you do it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. I've got a nice friend that will sit with me, but then they'll just like pacify my laziness as well. So I probably do need that person that will say like, what the hell is this? You need to clear this now. Like, yeah. I feel like organizing and getting myself together, sometimes I can be really good and I have it in me to just get everything together. And other days I just will look at a bunch of stuff that really, if I just put the effort in, I can get it done. I think the funny thing is that when you start doing it, it's not as bad. It's just the starting. That's what I think it is.
Yeah.
Something that I try and do as well is it's like one task a day. Like today's my laundry day. And like today's my like getting the uniform ready day, or today's my like just basically not thinking, oh, on Saturday I've got to do this and this and tidy this and tidy that. It's just my brain will just get tired before I even start. So if I just do something that I can do in a repetitive way without having to think about it once I started, it helps.
I'll try that, but it's not even like I can't do it. It's just the starting. That's it.
Yeah, task initiation.
Just to start it. That's it. Like
I've done.
Yeah, it's like the times when you're at university and you're trying to start an essay.
Oh my God! Don't I still have nightmares?
Yeah. Once you're in the midst of it and doing it, then it's fine. But then just to start it, it's like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Okay, I'll do it now. No, I've got other things to do. I'll do it that's what happens to me.
Well, considering I did my dissertation in 24 hours before the deadline, I understand.
Wow.
Yeah, I was about to say that's legendary. That is.
No, it's not. I've never been so sweaty or unwell in my entire life.
Oh no.
But I guess when you're like with being a mother, like somebody else's deadline is much more motivating than your own. So like making sure your kids are on time for school. Yeah, I've definitely not always done it, but it is like I've got to do it. I've got to do it. Like compared to getting myself somewhere, I definitely mess up, but I wouldn't say it's easier. It's just that fear factor motivation is stronger when there's other people involved.
Yeah, I'm like that as well. If there's someone else's deadline, I'm literally so on it. But then I try and apply deadlines to myself, and then it's just not the same. Like it's not the same at all. But someone else, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is due tomorrow. I need to do this thing, and I'll like properly focus. But then with myself, I'm just like, So yeah, I don't know. Which symptoms were the worst for you during pregnancy and then motherhood as well? So Naomi, did you want to start?
Yeah, I guess during pregnancy, kind of being more like spacey, more inattentive, feeling like I wasn't really there. That was really tough to deal with. And I guess like it's hard to know if it was pregnancy symptom only or if it was exacerbated by having ADHD, but like fatigue and tiredness, like just trying to listen. I mean, I work with students with mental health difficulties, so I have to listen to people as part of my job and I really enjoy it. But when I was pregnant, oh my gosh, Like it was so hard not to start like feeling my eyes start going dry or feeling like I need to yawn. It was really hard. And just like that mental, like just not wanting to think anymore. I feel like my brain was just constantly like tired. And then on the reverse of that, I do have combined ADHD, and my hyperactivity is mainly overthinking. Just overthinking ridiculous, horrible scenarios all the time. Really scared something would go wrong. And then like out of pregnancy into being a mother, I'd constantly like have these idea of milestones in my head, or like problems or things that could go wrong, and overthink them. Like I remember at one point when on my second pregnancy, when I thought I might have ADHD, I thought for ages about, oh, maybe I shouldn't tell anybody, or maybe I shouldn't get a diagnosis because it might look bad, and like what if they wanted to take them away from me, and all these ridiculous scenarios that were like somewhere between hyperactive ADHD and postnatal depression, because they were ridiculous. But yeah, that was probably the worst. That one, and kind of not feeling like I'm here and worried that I was missing things, was the other one. So thank God we live in a world of pictures and videos, because you would think that you didn't remember things, or you weren't present for things, and you obviously you were. You're just not processing the memories very well. I think they were definitely some of the hardest symptoms. And then the juggling it all together, being back at work after maternity leave. Wow. Like the amount of things I got wrong. Like I went to a training a day later than I was supposed to go, and it cost my boss like £500, and just loads of stuff like that. Like my brain just didn't work. It just literally was like some kind of weird save that things just fell through. And obviously it gets better. But yeah, a mess.
Was your work understanding?
Luckily, yeah. I had a really nice manager. I've had some horrible ones. So out of some pure grace, I had a nice one at the time, who'd had children himself. So yeah, he was really understanding. But I mean, obviously, like I work in mental health, I really didn't want to let anybody down. And how I feel as a practitioner as well is really important to me. So it's like I timed my mum guilt by 100, because I felt like I was letting so many people down by not being really organized and attentive and not having as good a memory as usual. But luckily for me, I've got hindsight, and I can be like, oh, it all worked out, because my kids are quite big now, and it's hard to describe what I felt like at the time. But I guess I just want to highlight that it gets easier. The older they get, it definitely gets easier, up and down. Like some things get harder, some things get easier.
Yeah, I think, I agree. Some things get harder and some things do get easier. I actually want to ask you something on the side. Are your children do they clap back a little bit more now that they're older? Like, are they more cheeky and just more
feisty? Yeah, they're really feisty.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering that.
Yeah, my dreams of gentle parenting are very tested, I have to admit.
Yeah, I feel like some things are easier and some things are harder. Like it's easier that they can make their own snacks. You can have a conversation with them about their day and their emotions. But then the harder thing is when they're like, yeah, I don't want to do that thing. And it's like, yeah, but we need to do the thing. Yeah. And they'll just come up with every excuse. Like, even like, can you wash your hands? I've already washed them. And I'm like, but I didn't hear the tap.
Can you use soap this time?
Yeah. And I'm like, can I smell your hands? Because I didn't hear the tap. And it's just little things like that. Like, why is this an argument? Like, just wash your hands. My goodness.
I can imagine most people with ADHD don't like having to repeat themselves. So with a little person, there's so much repeating. And I think like we have emotional dysregulation issues. Like that's just really likely. So when you're dealing with little people who by nature should have emotional dysregulation issues because they're still growing, it's just, it's really hard. Like trying to keep your cool, which I don't manage to do all the time. I wish I could say I did. Trying not to shout or like make them rush without like, let them talk about their feelings and why they don't want to put the coat on just yet and why they don't want to be warm enough outside and why it's such a big deal to zip their coat up. stuff like that. But yeah, it is hard when they talk back to you. But I guess for me, like the biggest difference is not being so worried to such a big extent about their safety. Like when they're the newborn baby phase, oh my gosh, it's so scary. So scary, like feeling like keeping them safe. And then things continue to get scary, even though they're lucky, like when they start to walk and stuff like that. It's really beautiful and it's lovely, but it's terrifying that something could happen to them. And something could happen to your children at any time, but I don't know. I think we're just more terrified about it during pregnancy and like the newborn stage. So from that point of view, to me, it's easier, but more complex, more like nuanced maybe now.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. We've all mentioned about feeling tired. Did any of you have low iron? Like, did you have to take iron tablets?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So not
I
just me
did.
then. Did you find the tablets absolutely rank, or was that just me?
I didn't take the tablets because I couldn't take them.
Okay.
So I used to take liquid iron, but even though I was taking liquid iron, I was still told by my midwife at the time that my iron levels were still quite low, despite the fact I was trying to increase my iron. And like I was being so careful during pregnancy. So there's certain foods that may have iron in it, but you don't want to take those foods because you're worried you're going to cause some form of damage. And I can understand the whole being incredibly careful during pregnancy, because you get scared. Yeah.
Yeah. Were you taking Spartone by any chance? Was that the liquid one that you were
I used to take Sparto and then I changed to, I can't remember what it's called now. It's in a sort of dark bottle and I've forgotten what it's called. It's in Holland and Barrett.
Floridix or something.
Floridix, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was taking Spartone and I was putting it in my juice and I was like, this is the nastiest thing in the world. They gave me the iron tablet.
Tastes like blood, doesn't it?
It
like your mouth's bleeding.
Nasty. Like, what is this? But then they kept telling me you need to have your iron tablets. And I'm like, but they taste that the rank. Like they're so horrible. Like honestly, but I know that during pregnancy the iron levels just get really, really low. Like dangerously low.
This is a bit of a niche one as well, but I breastfed and I found that really hard. I felt like it really drained me. And really like my body just, I probably should have like done it for a shorter amount of time or try to kind of mix feed because again, I don't know if it was like low iron or something, but I just didn't feel built for it. It was really hard on me, like feeling so drained and depleted all the time. And it's like that tiredness during pregnancy. It felt very related to that. Like, I don't know, but I don't know what deficiencies are common with, people with ADHD who are pregnant. But it felt weird. It felt like it can't be normal.
I found that I cried randomly during my pregnancy. And I didn't know why I was crying. A lot of the time, it didn't even make any sense because I'm not someone that cries.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, I'm not someone that cries.
So I cry all the time.
Yeah, I was just crying around and I'll just get really irritated with myself. Why am I crying? And my husband would just look at me like, what's wrong with you? just crying and like hysterically for no reason. And it used to really irritate me. And I've heard of women that get pregnant and they cry, and I thought, that would never be me. And
it'd be good. It's a shame we don't learn about this at like school about like what hormone fluctuations you get and how they affect your mood and stuff like that. Like I did an NCT course. I don't know if any of you have done those. It was like it was just a bit of a waste of money, really. But yeah, I mean, at the time we were living somewhere where everybody on our course was white and like 10 years older than us. So it very much felt like let's all like plan a perfect birth, which would never happen, and like get into the most fancy nurseries. But one thing I remember actually found interesting was learning about certain hormones that you like have, like prolactin, and then what's the love one? Is it oxytocin and stuff like that? So to me, I'd be really interested in what that process is like for people with ADHD. And like, I don't know, do we experience those fluctuations like more dramatically, or is there any particular science behind it? Because I was all over the place. So it'd be good to know.
Yeah. I was going to actually say to you, like going back to your other point about breastfeeding, I got told that breastfeeding uses an extra 500 calories a day. So that might explain why you were feeling like extra tired, especially if you weren't eating more.
I mean, I was eating a lot.
Oh, okay.
But I do eat a lot, so.
Okay.
Yeah. But I imagine it's easy to forget to eat enough. I mean, I think about food a lot, so it's hard. I'm not one of those people. I'm not one of those ADHDers who forgets to eat. That's never been me.
So you were talking about crying a lot during your pregnancy. Was that one of the worst symptoms for you, or was there another symptom that was really, really hard to deal with?
That was one of the worst symptoms for me, apart from the tiredness and constant like wanting to sleeping throughout the day, during the day, constantly sleeping. Move your body for a little bit and then, I want to sleep again. The crying was really hard for me because I was somebody that doesn't cry unless it's something like really like, I don't know, dramatic. And I found like during my pregnancy, I would cry and I would just have no control over it. And I just thought, what's going on? Spoke to my midwife about the fact I was crying. She said, oh, it's just, hormones. But it wasn't normal for me to be crying unnecessarily. So I don't know. I think your hormones do go all over the place when you are pregnant. And I used to be someone that was very, very controlled. But I think as I've gotten older, and I don't know whether it's either just around pregnancy or just being a female, that your hormones are not the same and they affect you in different ways as well. And I think also the reason why my iron was probably quite low, during my pregnancy, I had fibroids, which was noticed in my uterus. So the fibroids, they do take up like some of the blood supply in your body, which can cause you to have low iron. So I knew I had fibroids, and I did sort of speak to the doctors about it, and they're like, well, it's quite normal for Black women to have fibroids. That's what they said to me. And that, it's just a nuisance. There's not anything we can do about it. And, I kind of asked them, why do you have fibroids? And we don't really know why, fibroids happen. It just happens to some women. And that they kind of just looked at it like it's not a big deal.
If men had them, they'd know why.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's what they said to me. It's just a nuisance.
Oh my gosh. How can they not know? How can they go to medical school for 8 years and not know fibroids and how
this is another thing I want to kind of know about with people with ADHD, like with wombs, about gynecological issues, because I feel like everyone I know who is Black and maybe has ADHD or is autistic has some kind of gynecological issue. I've got something called adenomyosis, which is a bit like endometriosis, where basically like the tissue grows inside the wall of my uterus, which makes me have like bad periods and stuff like that. But I've had cysts before and stuff like that. And yeah, it's just mad. Yeah. Like it just feels like, I think that's one of the things I was scared about with pregnancy, especially knowing the stats about black birthing people and stuff like that, which is pretty scary. That I feel like I knew I would be treated badly or gaslighted a little bit. I expected it. And maybe I was almost too forgiving from the outset, that because it was happening, rather than being shocked by it. But what you just said, Sarah, about like a nuisance, I can't think of a more offensive word to describe those kind of things.
That is exactly the words they use. It's just a nuisance. There's not much. We don't know why it's there.
How can you feel safe and supported during your pregnancy if that's the way they talk about these things? It's just...
Yeah.
I mean, is this us reacting to it or finding it hard because we have ADHD, or is this just absolute mess that people shouldn't be accepting? And I think it's the latter.
Yeah, they should. Yeah, they should know. Like, how? Otherwise, what are they doing for 8 years? Like, honestly, like they literally read books for 8 whole years. Like, they should know every part of the body inside out. But they're always like, don't know. And I'm like, I think you do. I think you're just saying you don't know because you don't want the questions.
I'm gonna impart some, ADHD research in this, right? So just like girls being diagnosed with ADHD, they for very, very, very long time. I mean, we were probably alive when they started doing this. Healthcare was only studied on men. So oftentimes when they're doing trials, they actually purposely exclude women from these trials because our hormones provide too much of a fluctuation for their stats to be correct. So a lot of times when we're talking about women's health, those studies, those choices have been made by men on studies that have been focused on a male body, not a female body. So they will just assume that women have a higher pain threshold, which, to be fair, I think is true. I mean, man flu. But if you think about, like, if you have IUDs inserted, they don't give us any painkillers. If you have a hysterectomy, they're like, okay, you literally will have a C-section, have your baby, be holding it, and they'll be like, come on, you need to get up and walk. A guy goes and has a vasectomy, they get painkillers and told not to do it for 2 days, not to do anything for 2 days. They should put their feet up because a non-invasive surgery is the same as pushing out a life, So it's that kind of basis where they're now looking at the fact that, like, for example, periods. The tampons and sanitary towels that we used were never tested on blood. They were tested with water.
Oh, I remember reading that they started doing trials like recently.
Yeah, so now they're testing it with blood and being like, oh, this doesn't actually absorb what we've been saying it because it's a different texture. It's not the same as water. So everything that we're learning now and the things that we're sharing now has come about because of the fact that women are now being included in those trials.
Wow.
And there's my ADHD wisdom for the day.
I'm speechless. I'm going to move on to the next question because I'm just really speechless. Do you have any tips on dealing with symptoms?
In pregnancy or as a mother?
Yeah, in pregnancy and as a mother as well.
I mean, it's quite difficult because I didn't know I had ADHD when I was pregnant. So I guess I'll speak more about being a mother. I guess seeing if you need treatment and taking it. I did try a lot of ADHD medications and I didn't really find a combination that worked for me, but I take an antidepressant. I take sertraline and that really helps with my emotional dysregulation. So like learning to try and be a bit more calm is easier. And I've been off of it for periods and I've just kind of come to the conclusion now that it works to help me like manage my emotions. I'm sure I could find techniques without being on a medication, but this is what works for me now. Getting as much help as possible. I wouldn't say I'm lucky to have a partner who does his fair share. I'm lucky that I have a partner, but he should do his fair share, is what I'm trying to say. I don't know. We did actually have quite a good chat about what our strengths are. So like I do the cooking and I do the laundry because he drives me crazy when he does the laundry. And then he does most of like the cleaning and stuff like that. And taking the bins out because that's not my job. No.
My husband takes the bins out. So
yeah.
No, I had his babies. I'm not taking out the bins. But yeah, so that, yeah, making sure you get help and sharing the load. Help from outside the immediate family as well. So like even if my mother-in-law drives me a little bit crazy, it's accepting as much help as possible. What else? Yeah, I have to have like one half a day to myself a week, which is a massive luxury, I imagine, for a mum. But if I don't do that, I'm just so touched out and dysregulated. That's something I didn't mention before, actually. is a big issue for me, getting really touched out. Like both my boys are really tactile. They're big sensory seekers. They need hugs all the time, which is lovely. But sometimes I just feel like I've constantly got a child around my head, and my husband wants to have, attention too. So I just need like half a day. So usually when I work home from Mondays, and I make sure my husband doesn't work home on Mondays. And then that little bit of time when my kids are at school, it's like, I'm not going to see any human today, and just have that for me, which again, I know is a huge luxury, but yeah, I need that. That's something I would definitely recommend if you need alone time, or you feel quite touched out or overwhelmed by all of it. Have a little bit of time where you can just mong out on your own, basically.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. How about you, Sarah? How do you manage your
For me, I've just learned to give myself grace and just give myself the space if I don't get stuff done, or if things are not the way that I want them to be. I think the best advice for anyone with ADHD, just give yourself grace, give yourself the space, because your brain is not neurotypical, and you have to accept that's how you are created, and it's okay for you just to give yourself that space. Some people might not understand you, and we already have like this thing in our heads where we think we're letting people down a lot of the time. But you really have to just say, it's okay. Like, I'm not 100%, and it's fine. That's my advice. Yeah, because you're already hard on yourself anyway. I find anyway. So yeah.
Yeah, grace, self-compassion, that's the one. For me, how I manage my symptoms, just alarms and timers. That's how I get through the day. Otherwise, I would not remember anything. So yeah, that's me. I feel like we've discussed a lot. We've talked a lot about mum guilt and forgetting, and our symptoms and how it feels during pregnancy, and the motherhood journey in general. So I wanted to ask you both, what have you learned from today's discussion? Sarah, did you want to go first?
What have I learned? I've learned so much. I've learned that they don't test women's bodies as much as they should, and do more research on our bodies, because yeah. And I've also learned that there needs to be more studies on ADHD mothers and pregnancy during ADHD. I think that really needs to be looked into, because as much as your body goes in this sort of hormonal crazy state, I feel like the impact of having ADHD or any form of neurodiversity will have a detrimental impact on your body, and even connecting to your child as well. So that's what I've learnt today. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to make those studies happen, definitely. And Naomi, how about you? What have you learned, and what did you find interesting about today's discussion?
It was all really interesting. I think what you said, Sarah, about giving yourself grace is so important. I imagine I'm not the only mum who forgets to do that quite a lot. Like, you do the best you can, and some things might get forgotten. Some things might not get done. That's just something that's going to happen. And I can say that, but like feeling it at the time is a different thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like the way you said it. It was all really interesting. It was really nice talking to you about it. I guess I think it was really helpful, like preparing for this podcast as well, and like hearing some of the questions that you might ask, because it sounds a bit big-headed, but it's made me realize that I think you really grow into it. Like whatever task you're given, it might seem like you can't handle it, but you do. And I do genuinely feel like having ADHD is not entirely negative when it comes to being a mum. I feel like I'm a lot more creative with how to connect with my children. I feel like I understand them. I feel like I can handle crisis really well. Like especially compared to, like, so if one of them had an accident and we need to go to A&E, like I'm always just, I know exactly what to do. Not that I want to happen to prove that I can handle crisis. But there's certain things that like the other side of the coin of what I struggle with, which are genuine struggles. I'm not of the opinion of saying this is not a disability, because in some ways for me it definitely is. But yeah, I think you grow into it. We're good at adapting. It might take us a long time, but if there's anyone listening out there is wondering, can I be a good parent if I have ADHD? Absolutely. It's not a hindrance. If you have to learn to live to look after yourself, and you'll learn to live to look after your children.
Yeah, thank you so much, both of you. So that's it for today's episode. So I want to thank you both for joining us. It's been a really great discussion. So before we go, I want you to tell us how we can keep in touch with you. So Sarah, where can we find you, and what are your socials, and what projects have you got?
Oh, sure. So I have a podcast as well. It's called Divine Enigma. If you go on Instagram, it's Divine Enigma. You can contact me at hello@divineenigma.org. I also have my own personal Instagram, which is Sarah Divine Enigma. You'll find me there as well. And I just literally joined TikTok recently. But yeah, you can find me on those socials. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, and you can email me. Yeah.
Thank you. And Naomi as well, what are your socials and what projects have you got coming up?
I have no projects. I'm a go to work and come home person. So I'm not interesting, but I'm not very interesting, but I'm always here to talk to any other ADHD, any other Black woman, any other mother who wants to talk about life or wants some support or just have a chat. So I guess through email. My email's Naomi, Naomi -Jackson, JACKSON @outlook.com. Instagram, I don't know the name of it because I'm a little bit old. But yeah, if you ever need any support or want someone to talk to, I'm here.
Thank you so much. First of all, you are interesting. Second of all,
yes,
why are you like, yeah, I'm not very interested. You are interested. We've had like a whole discussion. And also you're not old as well. Like, no.
Okay.
No. Forever young, forever 21.
I feel like I'm on the older side of ADHD babes. I'm 36. So yeah.
Nah, that's not old.
I know it's not old.
Forever 21.
I'm sorry to break it to you, but 36 is actually probably the lower side of ADHD.
I don't think it is. Everybody's always talking about uni and stuff, and I'm like, that's a long time ago for me. But
honestly, most people are like late 20s, 30s, and then a lot of people are like 40s plus. So
yeah, I don't think I'm too old, but I feel a bit old for the whole multifaceted person who's got lots of fingers in different pots and stuff like that. That's not me.
So that's it for today's episode. To support our podcast, please spread the love and share with other ADHDers. If you'd like to join ADHD Babes or learn more, you'll find the links to our website and social pages in the show notes, as well as visiting ADHDbabes.com. Thank you for listening. If you liked today's episode, please feel free to follow so you don't miss out on future episodes. Also, review our show to help us grow and let everyone know your thoughts.
Thanks for listening to this episode of ADHD Babes, the podcast. If you're a Black woman or non-binary person and need help and support in managing your ADHD or advice on diagnosis, please visit ADHDbabes.com. No clinical diagnosis is required to join. Join us in 2 weeks for a new episode. Until then, all the love from the ADHD Babes team.
Just as I am, can you take me just as I am?